What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Games That Define Us. We are the Arcade Tokens. I am the anomaly, Will Pharaoh.
Leo Thomas, aka Mr. Slickler.
Patrick Cloud.
And we have a special guest today, writer, producer extraordinaire, comedian extraordinaire, and gamer, Sidney Castillo. What's happening?
What's up with it? PS4 in the building. PS4s make some noise.
Man, this is the second guest that is sock Xbox in the mouth.
Hey, I love it.
Hey, Jay, you here?
I love it.
But yeah, so CD, the way games are defining us, we pretty much bring a game that we feel is defining us within our gaming careers. So normally we like to let two of the arcade tokens go first, just so you can see how things kind of work. And then after that, we'll let you go ahead and roll through. So Pat or Khleo, which one of y'all would like to go first?
Mr. Cloud?
Yep, I'll go first. All right. One of basically the game that I brought on this fine day is probably the darkest of my favorite series. And this is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. This was the follow-up on the 64 to the Ocarina of Time. And this one was interesting for two reasons. Number one, like this was the timeline of the kid version of Link. So, you know, it starts off with him basically getting meeting this like little imp that has this mask, and he kind of gets like robbed by this imp, and he sort of falls into this weird world, and it's called Termina. And it's like a weird world where the world is ending because this horrifying giant moon with a face is like about to crash into the world and kill everybody. And you basically have to relive the same 3 days and do different things in order to like stop it from happening. So it's a really creepy and dark game. You basically have this way to reset the time back 3 days. And it's sort of like this festival that's happening. And when the festival ends, the world ends. It's weird. It's like a end of the world festival. And you basically have to keep resetting the time. And the cool thing is you're basically using these different masks to transform into different creatures so that you can do different things. So, you know, you have like a Deku mask that turns you into sort of like this leaf creature. You have the Goron mask that turns you into this big buff, sort of like lava dwelling creature. And then the Zora mask turns you into like this good swimming like mermaid creature. And then there's like a mask that turns you into like the ultimate version of Link. And it's the reason why this is my favorite game is because there's a huge fan theory that says that Link dies in the beginning of the game, and this weird place that you end up, which is ironically called Termina, is like limbo. Everybody there is dead, and you're basically reliving the same 3 days in this like limbo area before you're waiting to like pass on. So there's like a lot of these dark references. It's like compared to the last game on the 64, which was a lot more like upbeat and a little bit happier. This was just a very, very like dark turn, and a lot of people don't like it because of that reason. But that was like one of the most reasons that made it interesting for me. And it's kind of like a difficult game too. I thought it was like a harder game than the other one.
Than Ocarina of Time,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I was gonna say that they said that this game's pretty much purgatory. Like he's stuck in purgatory in this game.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what I mean, there's a lot of hints at it for sure that kind of shows that he's kind of stuck in this, like to this limbo world that's gonna continue to loop no matter what.
Right.
You know what I
And
mean?
it's literally
like the
called
world's
Termina. There's all these great like creepy fan videos on YouTube about it, because like the layout of the map is just like this weird circle, but like as you walk, like it turns to ice, and then it turns to like desert, and then it's just like this weird clump of regions, which Hyrule usually is, but this is like one of the first games that doesn't really have, you're not really in Hyrule like that. And this game was really cool. I didn't really own it at first. Another reason why it defined me was like I couldn't get the game, so I would go to Blockbuster. Shout out to Blockbuster.
Hey!
And this was back before, I guess, that, you know, niggas started stealing and stuff, but back when they actually had the game when on the shelves. Before then, they just gave you the cover and you brought it up and they put the game in. But before that, they put the actual game in the thing. And 64, they didn't have memory cards yet. It actually saved on the actual cartridge. So I would just like puncture the Blockbuster case with like a pencil and write something or like a little mark, so that every time I went back, I would rent the exact same game and I would just continue my my save file. So that was like a cool, like just like random thing that I did. And then, you know, they stopped doing that and I lost my game. Yeah.
For we've talked about the Zelda series plenty of times as the arcade tokens, and Ocarina of Time, I'm right there with you, is by far one of the greatest video games in gaming history. Majora's Mask, I never played it, never got to it.
As much as you like the Ocarina of Time, you never even really like.
Never got a chance to make it over. Like I don't know who Majora is. Like that's even the crazier part. I'm like, I never thought about that till now. Like who is Majora? Do you know? Like, is it a character in the game? Do we meet Majora?
I don't believe Majora is the, it's the mask. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I never thought about it. I like all this time we've been talking about it, but I don't know of a character in the Link or the Zelda history that's Majora.
It's the mask. It's pretty much the dude that's running around with that mask on. The big old mask that you see in the
Yeah, but the imp wasn't Majora. I think Majora was a bit like that. The actual mask itself.
It says, I'm looking at it right now. It says it's the assumed name of the main antagonist.
It's the assumed name, so we don't really even know?
No, it's assumed. Obviously, that's the Skull Kid. You know what I mean? Right. We remember the Skull. It walked around as the Skull Kid from the. But that's why this game's so weird. That's why
it's a very weird game. I've always hated that moon. I have several things, like the fact that this game required you to have an expansion pack. You had to have that red thing and pop open the top of your N64, take out the stock expansion thing that was in there and put that instead.
Yeah, the good old
that red joint.
Can't play it if you don't have that
console to play it. It was designed for the Rumble Pack. That was great. What makes me very curious about even the cover Khadeem chose is that it says the collector's edition. So I could assume that this game had a golden cartridge and a regular gray cartridge. Yeah.
Yep.
There's it.
Look, y'all already know how I used to feel about the good old Zelda and the links and stuff like that. And I'm sure this was cool, but just I don't want to disrespect the current Link. I don't really fuck with the one that was in green. Like if he ain't in the ice blue, running around chasing dragons.
Ice blue. You're talking about pre-Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I did all of this right now is like Star Wars with Jar Jar Binks and shit. Like that's what this is to me. I'm like Breath of the Wild is where I start, and that's what's dope for me. This here, I don't know what this is.
Yep. Sydney, you were mentioning earlier that you were like strictly Madden NBA 2K. I'm sure this was the furthest thing from something that a young Sydney would play.
Yeah, I remember my homeboy playing Zelda as a kid, but like I couldn't tell you the game. I just remember being a little wizard, right? Little white boy, and he was like trying to find something. That's all I know about Zelda.
I mean,
pretty much.
Contra. I played Contra.
There it is.
I played Contra. Yeah. Contra was a shit. And Double Dribble as a kid. I remember Tecmo Bowl a little bit, but yeah. Zelda was like, what are we doing here? Yeah.
The little wizard is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he not a wizard?
No, it's debatable. He'd be doing magic.
At this point, I don't even know what to say. You might be right.
It's like never heard Link referred to as a wizard, but he do be doing magic. Like
got a pointy hat.
Doing that weird shit, man. I'm good. No, but
all right, then, Pat. Well, that was Pat's game that defined him.